Hello, everyone. I wish you're all doing very well. I really miss you guys, and we are gonna have our lecture, as you know, on a video. So please listen to me carefully and try to concentrate, read each slide with me, and listen to what I'm saying. So let's start now. Today, our lecture is about CV. And of course, all of you know what's a CV. A CV is a curriculum vitae. What is a curriculum vitae? Actually, it is your history, everything related to you. For your education, your work experience, if you had any previous jobs, your training courses, any training courses you've attended, any extracurricular activities you're involved in, anything that would make you stand out in the crowd, that would make you really a leader in the eyes of an employer, that would attract the employer's attention and motivate him to give you the job. And this is what you want after all. So, in our lecture today, we're gonna speak about the CV, its importance, components, and even the style and format of the CV. And after this lecture, you're supposed to be able to write your own CV. And surprise, this is the assignment of today. After the lecture, you're gonna write your CV and send it to me on the blackboard, and we're gonna discuss if you've done it right or you've done some mistakes, and we're gonna correct them together. So good luck. Let's start. CV. Did you know that CV is an acronym? Oh, now you ask me, what's an acronym? Acronym is a kind of abbreviation whereby you take the initials of many words and you form a new word, and you start using these initials as a word on its own. So, for example, we have FBI. You've heard that word in many American movies, I think. FBI means Federal Bureau of Investigations. So, F stands for federal, B stands for bureau, investigations give us the I. And why would we go to America and talk about FBI if we are here in Saudi Arabia and we have the acronym KSA? Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And also, we have this very famous acronym which we use every day, and actually, it is in our emails PNU, Princess Noura University. So, acronyms are everywhere. We use it as a word, but we have to know which word is give us each letter. So here, CV comes from curriculum vitae. I hear you say and actually think that curriculum vitae doesn't sound English. You're absolutely right. It is a Latin word and it means course of life. You know why it is a course of life? Because you give us the history of your life, your work experience, your educational background, any workshops you've attended, any training you've taken, any awards or any achievements you've made in your life. So when I look at your CV, I should be able to know all your history, all the achievements you've done in order to become the professional. So you should convince me that you deserve a job. You should convince me that you are a great person, that you are a leader. So if your CV is impressive, you're definitely going to get the job. Why do we need a CV? Think with me. Why? Can you think of any reason why do we need a CV in the first place? It is really hard to find a job nowadays because the number of applicants, of people seeking a job, is really high compared to the number of available jobs. So, for example, if we have an announcement of one job, imagine how many people would apply to get this job. Maybe 100 or even 200 or 300. I don't know, maybe 1,000 people would send their CVs to get this job. But do you think the owner of this company is going to look through all the 1,000 CVs in order to pick one, only one, for the job? Oh my God, can you see that? All those people applying for only one job? Oh my God, I feel really sorry for the owner of this business. I feel really sorry for the manager who's gonna go through all those CVs. Do you think he can do that? He can go through 1,000 CV in order to judge which one deserves the job? Of course not. He's gonna have to do some shortlisting. What is shortlisting? If I have like 100 CVs, I'm gonna look at each CV for like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, even 1 minute, and see through the CV like some sort of scanning to get the most important information and see whether there is something attractive about this person or not. If I find something attractive about this person, the owner of this CV, I'm gonna put it aside. So after going through the 100 CVs, I'm gonna have like 10 attractive people, and these people are shortlisted for the jobs. Those people are gonna get the call. You'll be waiting desperately to get the call, and you'll get the call only if you are shortlisted. But how you're gonna be shortlisted? The answer is really easy. You have to have an impressive CV. And of course, an impressive CV is not very easy. Impressive CV means a lot of work, darling. A lot of work you have to do in order to give value to your CV, in order to give value to yourself. Believe me, you're not the only one applying for the job. So, you have to stand out in the crowd. You have to be impressive. If you stand out in the crowd and if you are very impressive, you're gonna get the call. And the call means an invitation to the interview, which is the next step. The next step in your fight to get the job, in your fight to prove that you really deserve the job. So, the clear objective of the CV actually is not to secure the job, because there is no guarantee you're gonna get the job. No, the CV puts you on the first step towards getting the job, which is getting the interview. In the interview, which is another battle, my dear, you're gonna prove that you deserve the job, and if you succeed in doing that, you're gonna get the job after all. So, in conclusion, the CV is a marketing tool, a job-winning tool. It is a tool you use in order to market yourself, to brand yourself. You want to tell people about yourself, to tell people that you're fantastic, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're the best man for the job. So the CV is your tool to do that. The purpose of a resume is to get the interview, where you would fight to prove that you deserve the job. So, you give your CV, you don't guarantee you get the job. But if the CV is impressive, you'll get the interview. And here, I have to remind you of something, that CV equals resume, because resume is the American word for CV, because CV is a British word. It is used in the UK, while resume is the American English word which is used in America, in the United States. But both of them refers to the same thing. No CV, no job. I'm sorry, but you have to have your CV in order to start searching for a job. So here, Grab this opportunity and be the first to learn how to write an impressive CV. So the question now is, what information should be in your resume? What you should write in your CV? The CV starts with a section called the header or heading, which includes your personal data, your name, your contact details, including your mobile number, telephone number, address, etc. And then the second section would be the objective. And it is a very important section because it attracts the eye of the employer. It is a personal statement about yourself, about what do you want, how you're going to benefit the business, and what is so special about you. And then we move to the employment history, which includes all the previous jobs you've had, of course, organized from the most recent to the oldest. And of course, you're just starting your careers, and I guess you wouldn't have any previous jobs, probably some sort of training, but not a job per se. And then we move to education history. It would refer to your university degree, or if you have any postgraduate studies or something. And then the skills area, it is where you mention your standard in languages, especially English, of course, and your computer skills, how skilled you are in using computer programs. And then you can also here refer to the training you've had, the workshops you've attended, etc. Then the next section would be certificates, and it refers to any test you've had beside, of course, your university test. So, for example, if you go and got a certificate from Microsoft or from the ICDL, the ICDL, it is the International Computer Driving License, and things like that. So there are a lot of certificates you can have in your career, specialized in your field. And then the last thing in the CV would be references. Here you would mention the names of 2 or 3 people which they are going to be contacted if you're picked for the job. And of course, don't put the contact details of the references. They wait until you are picked for the job, and then they will ask you to give the details of your references. But don't just put them from the beginning. It wouldn't sound, of course, right. The header section in the beginning of your CV includes your personal data, your name. Your name should be in the first line of the CV. It should be bold and should be the largest in font compared to anything else in the CV, because it gives the information who you are, who's the candidate. And then number 2 is the address. Of course, you give your current address, where you are right now, where you live right now. Then number 3 is your email address. A professional email would be great. So your university email now is very, very impressive. Number 4 is the phone number. You should give both your home telephone number and also your mobile or cell phone number. In this section, the career objective, you provide a personal statement about yourself. What should you say and how would you say it? The objective section is optional, but it is highly recommended. You should really think about it. You should try from now to design your own objective and you put it in your CV. How would you write it? It should be clear, concise, and to the point. Let's consider these examples in front of us here in the slide. Number 1. Can you write, I want to get a job? Come on, we're not that desperate. I wouldn't write, I want to get a job. So let's consider the second option. To attain an internship in livestock industry. Is this enough? You just state what you want? Is this enough? The third one actually is the best. To attain an internship in the livestock industry with detailed insight into genomics and bioinformatics. The information he added in the third one gives an idea about his interests, about the candidate's interests, and would make him impressive in the eyes of the employer. Of course, avoid being over specific, but at least mention your interests, mention why you apply for this job particularly. And when you say that, try to target the company's perspective. So, if the company is interested in a certain field, of course, write that you're interested in the certain field, so you would give them the impression that you are suitable for this job. Let's look at more examples. Example 1. A creative position where extensive marketing, writing, management, and technical skills are required, preferably within database management. The person who wrote this objective is very smart. He said the kind of job he wants or he's applying for, but he gave an idea about his skills. Because if he's seeking this job that requires those skills, it means logically that he possesses those skills, right or not? The second one. Desire a position in the office management, secretarial or clerical area. Prefer a position requiring responsibility and a variety of tasks. This guy also is smart because he said the kind of job he wants and he prefers would require responsibility, which means that I am responsible. I have a sense of responsibility. And he also says that the job he prefers requires a variety of tasks, which means that I am ready to do a variety of tasks. I am the guy for the job. This is a smart way of fashioning or designing your career objective. In this section, you would provide information about your educational background. You would list your educational qualifications from highest to lowest. Don't use high school details once, of course, you graduated from college. You must include the years you spent in the university. In the work experience section, you list all the jobs you've had in a reverse chronological order. What do we mean by a reverse chronological order? It means you start from the recent and you go down till you reach the first job you've ever had. So, for example, if I speak about myself, I would first put my position here in Princess Noura University because it is my most recent job. So I would say an associate professor of English language and linguistics in Princess Noura University. Then number 2 would be the previous job before that. The job before Princess Noura would be an associate professor of linguistics in Tanta University, Egypt. Number 3 would be the job before that. an assistant professor of linguistics and English language in Tanta University, Egypt. And go down, down, down until I reach my first job ever, which was an instructor in Tanta University, Egypt. And this was actually back in 1996, which is like ages ago. Don't forget also to mention the position title. Your position title, what's your job? What was your position in that company? The organization name, the place you worked at, the address of this company or organization, and of course, the dates of your employment. When you started the job and when you left this job and moved to another job. And if you can, describe the specific roles you did in that job in bullets, of course, as you can see here in the example. Again, when you write your work experience, you should follow a chronological format, which means start with the most recent and then go down, including all your work experience until you reach your first job. Of course, include all the full-time paid jobs and part-time jobs and even the training you had. List the periods of time you worked, months or years, the position you've held, and also the name and location of the institution you worked at. And it would be really great if you also include the responsibilities you used to have. List also the most important responsibilities first, and then go down till even the trivial things you've done. List your achievements in each job. This would be really impressive if you've had any awards or any kind of acknowledgement during your work in that job. And now we come to the honors and activities section. Concerning the honors, it is all the acknowledgements you've ever had during your career. Of course, you are acknowledged when you've done a great thing. You're taken awards when you are amazing. So, in this section, you should scream, I'm a leader, I'm the one, choose me. You're gonna lose if you don't pick me for this job. This section must contain all the awards you've ever had, whether it is academic, professional, or even extracurricular. You should provide a brief description of these awards and why you've taken them. And also, in this section, you can also speak about your activities or hobbies. But of course, don't say a hobby like I like surfing the internet, or I like chatting with my friends, or I like going shopping. Oh, this wouldn't be impressive actually if you include that in the resume. But you can say, I like reading fiction, I like traveling, I like sports like hiking or swimming. It would give an impression that you are an athlete and you're exercising, you're in good health, you're, for example, you are patient, you are full of hope, and you have passion about everything you do. So please include the activities or hobbies that would give a good impression about your character. The references are the people who would give a good word for you. They would support your application for the job. It is one of the crucial things in the CV to include 2 or 3 names of people, and they should be an authority in a company you've worked at, or in the university where you got your degree. So they should be an authority, which means your friend wouldn't work as a reference, of course. Your mother wouldn't work as a reference, but it should be someone you worked with who had been your manager, for example, in a company or something, or somebody who taught you a course in your college or something like that. You can mention that you are going to provide the details of the references, particularly their contact details, on request or on demand, which means you wouldn't include the contact details of the references in your CV, but you would say on demand or on request, which means if you are shortlisted and you are called for an interview and they got impressed by you and they want to go further and offer you the job, they would ask for your references and you would gladly, of course, provide them with your the contact details of your references, and they would contact them, listen from them about what they're going to say about you, and then they would make their final decision and give you the job or not. And inshallah, I hope you all get the jobs you apply for and you are going to prove yourself and become very successful in your careers. In this part, you talk about your skills, particularly in computer and in languages. In languages, not in languages generally, so you wouldn't speak about all the languages of the world. Here, the employer would be interested to know about your standard in English. So if your standard in English is high, in the four skills, you master the four skills of English: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. This would probably increase the possibility of you getting the job. English is like an asset. It increases your attraction. It makes you more prominent and you stand out in the crowd. Remember, dear, that the employer scans your CV for the first time in less than 20 seconds. So it would be either giving you a chance to be shortlisted and you get the call for the interview, or you would lose your opportunity, you would lose the chance, and you wouldn't get the interview. This all depends on how impressive your CV is. So, you have to grab attention by getting a very impressive CV. Impress. Be the unique applicant. Be the one. Tell them you're gonna lose a lot if you don't give me the job. This wouldn't come easy. You wouldn't be the unique applicant. You wouldn't stand out in the crowd easily. Actually, it takes a lot of time and effort to do that. You have to work on yourself. You have to enhance your skills. You have to get more training. For example, in English, you have to get more exposure to the language, listen a lot, practice speaking, work on yourself. Actually, you wouldn't be spoon-fed. This is a skill. Language is a skill. Everything related to work is a skill. And the skills are earned. It is not given. You wouldn't be spoon-fed. No, it is not given. You have to work for it. You have to work on yourself and be patient. Your work would pay in the end. Don't worry. Nothing is wasted. If you exert some effort now, it would pay you later and you would be a good candidate and you would get whatever job you apply for. Beware. Be careful. There are some common mistakes we have to avoid when we write our CVs. Let's have a look at what are those mistakes. 1. Don't write the word CV at the top of your CV. Don't put any attachment unless it is required. So don't put, for example, copies of everything, of all the certificates you've had, unless they require those copies. Don't use poor quality paper and printer. It would give a very bad impression about you. Don't use photocopied CV. Actually, when you look at a photocopy, it is really different from a printout. So please have a printout, not a photocopied CV. Don't use capital letters in writing the whole CV. No, there are rules for capitalization, and we've covered that actually in a lecture. Don't use the expression I and I am. Don't have a too long CV or a too short CV. Provide the information such as is required. No more, no less. Don't make the CV hard to read. Use a font that is common, so it would be eye friendly. Anybody can read it and it wouldn't bother anybody. And in the end, I wish you the best of luck, and you'll have a very impressive CV, inshallah. You have to remember always, it takes nothing to join the crowd. It takes everything to stand alone. Exert effort, and you wouldn't regret it, I promise. Keep moving and show up in the crowd. Be unique. Good luck, my girls.